I'm going through a massive pivot right now in my startup. This is going to be the story about that. I was working on a content idea. I've demoed it on this channel and I'm completely leaving that idea behind and working on something completely different. And I'm going to explain kind of what's going on. There's two key reasons. Firstly, the idea, the direction of the idea, I wasn't super happy with. Secondly, I think partly also the team. The long story short is, in terms of the idea, the original intention was I've been making content as a founder for a year and a half or whatever, and it has greatly benefited my business when I was a software agency owner. And so I wanted to facilitate something. I have an editing bill that I need to pay every month, and I'd rather not pay it. It's annoying for me to have to pay it. I have to worry about it and my burn rate. Like, I wanted to optimize my channel. So like, can I A/B test different titles? And that was useful and it was working. The whole belief was founders need to make content, number one, and making content as founders is hard. And I think these things are true. And actually, I spoke to a bunch of founders, like I've got communities with hundreds of them. This is a pain point. Founders do want to make content because they know that they should do it. But I don't think they're excited about it. Like, they just do it because they need leads. I am somebody who actually likes the idea of content. Like, I like the idea of documenting stuff and having it to look back on. That is something that's cool to me. For most founders, it's just a means to an end. All they want is like they want the money thing to work out. I realized also founders are not really a customer segment. Founders are people who have 8 different jobs and not enough time. I, as a founder, have used Figma, Cursor, Loom, Slack, etc. None of those software platforms are made just for founders. Figma is for designers, and founders use it because they don't have enough money to pay a designer. Cursor is for developers, but founders use it because they are engineering at the start and things like that. They are not a customer segment. They are people who want to eventually outsource things, but while they can't, they use your products. And so founders would not be the users that would really love this product, basically. We actually got some paying customers and stuff, and that was great, but I could immediately tell these aren't the paying customers that are going to scale, basically. They are in high pain about their social media presence because they don't know what to do. Their main pain point is strategy. And I didn't want to build some kind of like social media strategy product because I don't think that product scales very well. You can't give everybody the same strategy. Otherwise it loses value in the market. The closest thing you can do is produce some kind of like social media intelligence tool, something like vidIQ or whatever. And I don't want to go in that direction. The other option is to build the editing thing for creatives, right? Like, we don't want to build an editing tool for short form. There's a lot of that. And I wanted to do long form stuff. And founders aren't that interested in long form video content. And I think they should be, but like, I am not going to try and educate the market. Like, that's not my job here. If they should be in time, that will be revealed to them. But that's not a priority. That's not a pain right now. Not one person that we spoke to is interested in long form video content, basically. Other than like, I think there's a small circle of like coaches and info product owners, basically. And that's not big enough. That's not big enough of a segment to become a $1 billion thing. So when you combine all this stuff together, which is the long form content tool will be useful for content creators. And I don't think I understand that market, nor am I very excited about it. As in, like, I don't want to just make a content creator tool. Nothing against it, just not something I'm hugely passionate about, even though I guess I kind of am a creator, but like, I'm more interested in the business side of things. The other road is like helping marketing teams within companies and founders who cannot afford their marketing teams with some kind of social media tool. That also didn't, some kind of like strategy or intelligence tool didn't massively excite me. And then we have the other part of this equation, which is I was in a team of 3 people. This is nothing personally against them. Like, they both know this. We've talked about it, but we're in a castle with a bunch of other founders who are mostly in 2-person teams. And despite having 3 people, I did not feel like we were moving 50% faster, even though we had 50% more brains and hands on the job. For that reason, I was like, okay, this feels silly. It's not the most optimal and efficient thing to do. When I combined that with the way things were with the idea, I was like, okay, I think this is a time that I should step back, basically. Some of my co-founders and I had a lot of overlap, and that just didn't make sense. And it wasn't the most efficient layout of resources, basically. So that leaves me in idea exploration again. Honestly, that's not a great place to be. It's not super fun. I'm floating around a little bit. I have thought to go into things around FMCG and shipping, so fast moving consumer goods. These are very physical, hands-on industries. That feels a little bit exciting to me, but also my parents worked in fast moving consumer goods for like 20 years. That's where they did their jobs. That's where they built their careers. And so I have some natural access there. Like, just, I happen to be born with distribution into that. Much like, many businesses have come from people who grew up with entrepreneurial parents who had small mom and pop shops and stuff like that. The difference is my parents did jobs instead, but they worked at like large corporates in the FMCG space. I've thought about that. I've got some calls scheduled with people in the shipping and supply chain logistics space. I already had one of those chats. It was interesting. Still an industry I have a lot of ignorance debt to pay down. And I was very excited to build a product that I would use every day. And if I build something like this, I'm really not going to use it every day. I still got mixed feelings about that. And I'm trying to figure out these different pieces and how they fit in. That's my current main priority, is figuring out the different commercial angles and problems that I'm curious about. I also want to work on something that hopefully takes care of more people. I think this is something that excites me. The more directly I can do that, the more excited I'd be to do things. And I think excitement is something that's very important to me. I struggle to just do things for money. I will generally fail at those things in a long-term horizon. I just know this about myself, because even for like grades or anything like that, or jobs just for money, they generally suck the soul out of me, and I cannot continue to do them for a prolonged period of time. I have to at least somewhat enjoy my work. Of course, there's always boring parts. Business is business, and I 100% understand that, and I back that. Like, sometimes you just got to get the boring work done, but there's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel. That's all I'm saying. That brings us to the status quo. Now, I am also on the search for other people to build with around the castle. I think it would be nice, like, to have a co-founder to build with, although I'm also not worried about not finding one. I'd rather find a really great match, or I'd rather build alone than find a kind of crappy match, but just make it work for the time being. I want to either work with somebody who I really respect and admire and has complementary skill sets, or just work by myself and use my agency resources to build things. People have asked many times why I don't just do that. And I think that is a possibility. Like, I don't exclude that. It's just that having a co-founder, I think in the VC game, does make a big difference, because it's a lot of intensity. The VC game is a lot of intensity, and just having somebody that will ultimately share a bit of that load with you, and also shares the responsibility, but also the vision and the future of the company, basically, in an equal capacity, can be really nice, right? Also, you don't need to pay co-founders, or they can get paid less, stuff like that. Like, the building block of the company is more solid, and investors like that. I like that. I can obviously kind of build it myself and try to market it and sell it, but that's a lot of things for one person to really do and do well. And then I can also use my agency resources, but that obviously means that, like, it only goes as far as I have runway. And when I don't, then I have to then do everything myself, and that might stretch me a little thin. I don't know. That's the current situation. And this is an explanation of that pivot. All in all, I mean, I think I'm okay with things. Like, it's all right to change ideas completely. It feels a little scary at times. There's a lot of unknowns, but that's part and parcel with the journey. And I'm settling to be okay with that. I think I will find a good idea. I will stumble onto something. I just have to keep searching, and that's my utmost priority now. So I'm going to get back to that. I will also go and respond to some questions now in the comments. I really appreciate those, as usual.